The fate of Leto II Atreides, Paul Atreides' son, is one of the most dramatic and controversial in the entire Dune saga. On one hand, he indeed secured the survival of humanity by leading it along the Golden Path. On the other hand, this came at a great cost, both to humanity as a whole and to Leto personally. One of his major sacrifices was the voluntary transformation into a sandworm, a terrifying creature that gradually lost all human traits over the years. Why did Emperor Leto II do this, especially at such a young age? And how did he manage it? We'll discuss all this in this video. Get your water ready and let's start. Let me remind you that Leto II is the son of Paul Atreides. When Paul lost his sight and his prescience and left for the desert, his place was temporarily taken by his younger sister Alia, and after her, Leto became the new emperor. As a child, an assassination attempt was made on Leto and his twin sister Ghanima, after which the boy went to the desert of Arrakis to lose himself, reflect, and decide what to do next. During this period, his aunt Alia was ruling. Leto possessed the abilities of his father, meaning he was also a Kwisatz Haderach, able to see the future incredibly far and clearly. He was also trained in the Bene Gesserit techniques and had access to the memories and experiences of his ancestors. In the desert of Arrakis, Leto found the semi-legendary Siege Jacurutu, owned by the renegade Fremen, water hunters. Gurney Halleck was also there. The Fremen with Gurney captured Leto and subjected him to a brutal test, administering huge doses of spice to test his ability to resist the voices of his ancestors. Leto was considered preborn, like his aunt Alia, meaning there was a high risk that one of his ancestral personalities could overpower him or simply drive him mad. Leto passed the test, but he disliked the way he was treated, and, pumped with spice, he fled into the desert. It was there that he stumbled upon the sandshroud, the larval stage of the sandworm. Using his spice-saturated blood, ancestral knowledge, and the biochemistry of Prana Bindu, a Bene Gesserit technique that allows control over one's own body's chemical processes, Leto tricked the sandshroud into perceiving him as a nutrient-rich water reservoir. As a result, the trout entered into a symbiosis with his flesh and began his transformation into a hybrid organism. Leto immediately felt changes. His physical strength and reflexes significantly increased. Over the following years, Leto's transformation was completed. His body turned into that of a gigantic worm, with only his face and hands remaining human. The worm's silica-based life form made Leto nearly invulnerable. His new form also gave him other advantages. By human standards, Leto became a true monster. It is hard to imagine a more repulsive creature than a gigantic worm with a human face. Why did Leto do this? Traveling through the desert and conversing with his father Paul, whom he was able to find, Leto II greatly deepened his knowledge and understanding of the future of humanity. He saw the Golden Path, the only way to ensure humanity's survival in the future. But to guide humanity along this path, to not stray from it, and to prevent random factors from disrupting it, total and very long control was necessary. To implement this, Leto devised, or rather, saw a comprehensive plan that spanned over 3,000 years. To minimize the chance of failure, Leto himself had to carry out the entire plan, so it was necessary for him to significantly extend his lifespan. Transforming into a sandworm was an excellent way to achieve this. However, to be fair, in the world of Dune, there were other ways to extend one's lifespan. For example, one could simply consume spice, which could allow a person to live up to 300 years. Yes, 300 is not 3,000, so another option could be tried. There was also a secret Bene Gesserit technique, The Sisters of the Order so expertly controlled their bodies and internal processes that they could, by sheer willpower, completely stop aging in their bodies. However, this technique was forbidden. Bene Gesserit feared that if others learned about it, it could lead to persecution of the Order's sisters. By the way, one person did use it, Leto Atreides. Her mother, Jessica, after many years apart, noticed that her daughter had not aged at all, and realized that she had used the forbidden technique. Also, Bene Tlaxu discovered a way to become immortal. Their rulers, using genetic engineering and biotechnologies, lived for hundreds, even thousands of years. But Leto II specifically chose to transform into a worm. Why? Because this method gave him other advantages, besides longevity. The powers of the Kwisatz Haderach, which Leto II possessed, were immense. However, fully unlocking his potential was not simple. Leto's father, Paul Atreides, underwent complex and multifaceted training before acquiring this power. And still, he eventually broke and lost much. Apparently, the human body could not fully contain the potential of the Kwisatz Haderach. That's why other attempts to create one mostly ended in failure. Even those endowed with the necessary powers typically went mad. The body of a sandworm, however, was much stronger, more resilient, and longer lived than the human body, and it likely served much better as a vessel for the powers of the Kwisatz Haderach. Thanks to this, Leto fully unlocked his potential and literally became an all-knowing and all-seeing God Emperor. Also, paradoxically, to implement his plan to save humanity, Leto was forced to relinquish a large part of his humanity, because compassion and empathy would not have allowed him to do what was needed. This contradiction once forced Paul Atreides to deviate from the golden path, and to avoid the same mistake, Leto transformed himself into a being that could no longer be called human. Natural longevity and immortality do not in themselves protect against artificially induced death, that is, assassination. Leto II had many enemies who, not understanding his plan, sought to eliminate him as he restricted their power. Many forces, from the Bene Gesserit to his own descendants, the Atreides, wanted to kill Leto. But his death did not fit into the Golden Path plan at that point, and it needed to be avoided. Transforming into a worm, invulnerable to any weapon, and unknown how to harm except for water, but this would be revealed later, became the optimal solution to the problem. No knife, poison explosion, or other weapon could stop him. However, ruling a colossal empire, in Leto's time it even extended beyond the galaxy, by force alone was impossible. To maintain power, faith was needed. Literally, religious and mystical. To sustain it, Leto transformed himself into a super being, and henceforth no one could despairingly say he's just a human like us. No, Leto was no longer human, but had become a deity, omniscient and omnipotent. Therefore, opposing his authority was simply senseless and unreasonable. Moreover, he became not just any monster, but a worm. A creature that had a sacred meaning in the Empire. Everyone knew about Arrakis, and its key role in human civilization. Without the spice from this planet, space travel was impossible. The creator of this spice was the sandworm, and it was this most important creature to human that Leto chose for his transformation, underscoring the symbolism of his power and his exceptional position. In the end, all these reasons were fully justified. Leto, in the form of a worm, ruled the Empire for 3,500 years and achieved all his plans. And when he prepared humanity for the coming upheavals, he allowed himself to be killed by water. the only method that was dangerous to him. And that's all from me. If you liked this video, don't forget to rate it, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon. Your engagement is the best reward for me. Thank you for your attention. See you soon. Bye.